All right, we're in the shop today. We're going to do a little bit of fabrication, and I'm trying to mount this diamond sidearm mower to the tractor. What I'm working on first is I'm trying to get the joystick mounted into the tractor. This is the joystick that comes with this thing. It's a pretty substantial little piece here, and it's got all kinds of buttons and switches, and of course it's moves back and forth on X and Y axis. But there was a problem. There's nowhere in here to mount it. Putting it on the 60/30 because it's a good tractor to put it on. It's heavy and it's got shuttle on the column, and it's just, I think it'll work the best. And the problem was, see, this is the loader remote control, which I don't have a loader, but we use that for the snow plow, the HLA snow blade, and that mounts right here on the side of the seat. And I have actually unbolted it from the seat. It was right here. It was dark down there, but it was right there on these two bolt holes on the side of the seat. And what I finally decided I'm going to have to do is I had to remove that joystick, and I'm going to mount this joystick in place of it. Now you're thinking probably, how are you going to control your blade now that you don't have that joystick? Well, we're just going to have to switch it out. It's only 2 bolts. It's going to be 2 bolts and unplug some wires, and you can take that joystick out and put 2 bolts back in this joystick. I tried every way in the world over here to fit that joystick in here somewhere. See, this armrest is here. It's got a floor mount where you can mount it and put it up here, but then that joystick was in the way of reaching the other joystick. It just wasn't going to work out. So what I'm doing right now, after I figured out that I could take that off pretty easily and just set it down on the floor, it's going to make life a whole lot easier, because I can bolt that joystick in the same spot, and it will be mounted to the seat. It'll move up and down with the seat, and it'll swivel with the seat. When you swivel the seat to the right, this seat swivels left and right, and it'll be right at your hand with your arm laying on the armrest, so you'll be comfortable instead of having to hold it up here somewhere. But what I'm doing now is trying to fabricate something to mount it there, and I've already got started, and then I thought, hey, I should make a video of this. But let's go look at what I got, and I'll show you. All right, so the way this joystick mounts is just a tube. It just slides over top of a square tube, and then you got 2 threaded wing nuts. One of them's not in here yet, but you just tighten it down on there, and then you can loosen them and remove it. Well, here is the tube that I'm going to use to mount it onto, and I've already got a hole drilled in it. And then for the upper mounting spot, I used a milling machine, and I cut a slot because the hole don't line up with where this needs to be on the side of the seat. I'll go over there and see if I can show you what I'm talking about. Get this out of the way. And it's kind of dark, but the bottom hole, you're not going to be able to see in there without some light. And that ain't going to help. There. Okay, so the bottom hole lines up with the bottom hole, and then the top hole, the bolt, when I get this at the right angle, the bolt was hitting where this other bolt hole is going to be. So what I did is I cut a slot in the tube for the bolt to actually go into, and then I'm just going to weld a washer on top of this so I can just bolt it down, and it just so it can't move back and forth. The bottom bolt will hold all the weight and and everything just fine, and the top one's just going to be to keep it from moving back and forth. So my plan is to just weld a washer right here. It's for the bolt to go through to hold it in that slot. And so that's what I was getting ready to do. And this was actually my first time. This slot right here was the first time I ever used a milling machine. We have one, but we bought it not long ago, and I'd never used it before. And I thought I did good. I didn't break anything, and I didn't have anybody here to show me how to use it. So I thought I did good. Anyway, let's go over here and do a little welding. All right, I'm gonna put this thing in the vise so I sit still. And that bolt needs to be, it needs to be just like this. And I'll have to hold that and weld at the same time. Okay, let's see if we can get this thing in the right spot. I'll probably just tack it on, then I'll go trial fit it in the tractor, see if it'll work. You know what would help? I turn the welder on. That makes a big difference. Okay, I've got it tacked in a couple of spots, and I'm just going to run over to the tractor and make sure that it fits in there. Both bolts will go in, and I don't see why they won't, but I'll be right back. All right, so I went and tried it in the tractor. Both bolts fit in the holes perfectly. It fit really good, and I went ahead and stuck the handle on it and tightened it down, and I turned the seat. Everything cleared good, and that's what I was after. So I'm going to go ahead and weld this washer on here, and then I'm going to clean it up a little bit, and I'm going to paint it black, and let it dry, and then I've got some wiring I got to work on. So I'll be doing that while the paint's drying. Once I get the wiring done, I need to go take that big blade off the back of the tractor, that 1540 Rhino, and then I can start hooking the mower to the tractor. And once I get the mower mounted to the tractor, then I actually have to hook the boom to the mower, because the boom isn't hooked up to the mower. That's the way they shipped it. And once I get the boom on the mower, or the mower on the boom, I got to hook up the hydraulic lines and make sure it's got oil in it, and I think we'll be able to test it out a little bit. But I don't know if I'll get that far today. I got a lot of things going on today. I'm working on this. I'm trying to work on my 7.3 Ford on the injectors. I've got the valve covers off of it. I've got a new toy coming in a little bit for the green truck and the red Ford truck. I'm going to use it on both of them. I'm going to show you what that is when it gets here. And yeah, so I got several things going on. Anyway, I better get back to work on this right now so I can get my paint on here. There we go. That's all it needs. There you go. That's all it needs to fit in the tractor. Now, you see, if you look down through that hole, you see why I had to mill out the side of this tubing, because that bolt has got to go right down through the side of this tubing. And, you know, there's not going to be any pressure on this, so I'm not concerned about this washer holding this thing still. As a matter of fact, that one bolt right there, when I tightened it up tight, I couldn't move it. It was solid as a rock. This is just going to be a little extra support for it. just to keep it from swinging on this bolt. And so yeah, I'm just going to throw a little paint on that and move on to the next thing. Alright, so the next thing I gotta do is I gotta mount this somewhere, and then that's a controller for the well, it controls basically it controls this valve body right here. It takes the signals from the joystick and converts it to something this valve body understands. This thing does not connect to the tractor hydraulics at all. You run the PTO, and it's 1,000 RPM PTO, and it circulates hydraulic oil in its own system with this pump, this PTO driven pump, and that's what runs all this hydraulics on this machine. It doesn't use the tractor at all. That way, if you have an older tractor or something that doesn't have the best hydraulic flow on it, it'll still work. All the functions will still work as intended to, and it has to have this size pump to run that great old big motor that's on that thing there. So anyway, that's the next step, is to get the wiring and get it. And see, I got this harness I got to put on the tractor, and it does have, this is how it gets its power. Most tractors have this on them now, this plug here, but then this plugs into that control box, and some of it plugs into the handle, and then you got this box here. This is like a master. This right here cuts the mower on, the hydraulics of the mower, and this cuts the whole system, the hydraulics on and off, so you can't accidentally move it. Or that may actually just be a safety for this switch. You turn that on and then turn this on. It says lock on it. I'm not exactly sure what they're locking, but I feel like it's a lock to turn this switch off. So anyway, that's what I got to work on next, is get this wiring in the tractor. Alright, so my bracket here is dried out. The paint's dried on it, so I'm going to go ahead and mount it onto the seat right here. Find my bolts. Find my wrench. Snug it up. Alright. Now, next thing I need to do is put the joystick on. So we'll get it over here. This is kind of like juggling. Alright. Put it on. Tighten it down. Check for clearance. Clearance is, you can get a piece of paper through there. Actually more than that, it's about a 1/8 of an inch there. Anyway, this is what it's going to look like. I think it's going to work excellent. Now, you got to hook these wires up. Now, I've already mounted this box in here. This box is to turn the mower on, and I was reading in the book. This is a transport lock, is what this is. When you raise the mower all the way up and fold it back, you can flip this lock on, and you can't accidentally let the mower down while you're going down the road. It's just a hydraulic lock, so that's neat. I got the controller. I got it mounted right here on the back of the cab, and I still got to tie my wires and stuff up. This plug goes in right here, and that's how it gets its power, and that's all there is to it, really. It's not a whole lot to it. You got a couple of plugs that go out the back here that go to the mower. One's for the transport lock and turn the mower on and off. The other is to operate the solenoid valve that the joystick controls. So there we go. There it is, mounted in here. I think it's going to work out good. It'd be neat if I could control my snowplow with it too, but I'd have to change the valve to electronic, and I ain't going to do all that. But it's a nice little joystick. Got all these functions on it, buttons. It tells what it does over there, and I hadn't paid much attention. This switch, it says, is an override switch, and I don't know exactly what they're overriding. I guess I will find out. It may cut the electronics off. It may be like an emergency shutdown. I don't know yet. I'm gonna have to read some more on it. I just seen it said override switch. Alright, so the next thing I need to do is hook those wires up, and I want to get some zip ties and tie the wires around down there and make them look a little neater. And I'm going to take this blade off somewhere. This is a blade I use when I'm pushing snow as a counterweight. Mostly I don't use it a whole lot other than pushing some intersections. But yeah, alright, let's get back to work. Alright, so I'm in the process of hooking this up, or I was in the process of hooking this up. You got to hook everything up like normal 3-point hitch, and then you got these braces you got to hook up here. You got a long bolt. You got to replace this top link pin with this long bolt, and then you hook these braces to it, tighten it down. So their idea is they want this thing rigid to the tractor, as rigid as possible, so they don't want any flex in these arms and stuff to make it be flopping around. But anyway, this project is going on hold for right at this moment. We're going to go over here and look at another project.